So during the impeachment hearing, we did a lot of research to try to figure out what was really going on. Well, one of the guys who was the leading voice and way ahead of anyone else, and still is today, is John Solomon. He's the author of a new book called Fallout. He is also the CEO and editor-in-chief of Just the News. If you don't have this page bookmarked, you should. Just the News is a new news site that John has put together, and it's really good. Welcome, Mr. Solomon. How are you, sir?
Great to be with you, Glenn. Thank you so much, and thanks for that introduction.
You bet, you bet. So I want to talk to you about a couple of things. First of all, let me just start with that obvious question. How can the FBI do such a great job on the Whitmer plot and yet still be completely seemingly in the dark about Antifa, and we haven't had any action on the Russian collusion story?
Yeah, listen, I think that's why people see it, this dual justice of system. We've seen it throughout. You know, Mike Flynn gets charged with lying for a lie he didn't tell, and Andy McCabe doesn't get charged for a lie he did tell. All throughout the last 4 years, we've seen this dual system of justice. There's one for everyday Americans, and it seems conservatives, and there's another one for the Department of Just Us. And at the end of the day, what you're seeing these institutions, the FBI, the CIA, the NSC, they're all protecting themselves instead of telling the American people the truth and holding those accountable who carried out, the greatest dirty political trick in American history.
So Donald Trump is surrounded by people that, you could call deep staters, people that are just covering their own ass and don't want anything to change. Right. I don't know how one man can do this, but is there a chance we clean this up? Because if not, we don't have really a republic. We don't have one.
Yeah, listen, that is the real question, right? And I do think that the president remains determined. I think you're going to see the president do something very dramatic in the next couple of days, which is no longer wait for the federal agencies to release the documents he's ordered multiple times since May 19th. I think he's going to release them himself. I have a story up on Just the News right now that has the 40 documents that Trump should still release that would really finish the story, complete the picture, show who did what, who should be held accountable. And I bet you the president has the moxie to just go do this himself. He's no longer going to wait for the agency. But the other thing that has to happen, those who committed crimes have to be prosecuted, or this will become the new norm. I know people are frustrated by Durham and Barr, but everything I'm seeing is a very serious, real criminal case. I think they're getting very close to making bigger, more dramatic indictments. It may not happen before the election, which is tragic for the American voter, but I do think there's going to be some additional accountability meted out between now and the end of the year. But not knowing what happened before you go into the 2020 election, what happened in the 2016 election, is a travesty, and it shows that the deep state already won. So
can you tell me, Trump said, yes, I think it was yesterday, that they have enough evidence to go all the way to Barack Obama. I believe you do with that, January 5th meeting where it's all handwritten notes. I mean, that makes this way beyond Watergate, the biggest probably presidential scandal in American history. Do we have the evidence to do that?
Listen, I wrote a column a little bit ago that identified 5 instances where Barack Obama is directly involved in the investigation. We just had a new one come out this past week with the declassification, where we find out Barack Obama is briefed by John Brennan in July 2016 that Hillary Clinton is running this dirty trick on Russia against Donald Trump. She's going to try to portray him as having been involved in the hacking of the DNC documents to get rid of her own political liabilities. Barack Obama was in the know from beginning to end. Whether that being in the know and encouraging it and cheerleading it on is enough to be a crime, it depends what actions are taken. But make no mistake, he was read in, he was cheerleading, particularly when it came to Mike Flynn. Remember the notes that we have saying he told the FBI, put your best people on it. This is after the FBI concluded there was no criminality.
Correct.
So Barack Obama's a cheerleader. He's in the know. He's read in all the way through. If he committed a crime, we'll have to see what the evidence is. But make no mistake, he was in on this dirty trick from start to finish.
So let me switch gears to Andriy Telezenko. People don't know who he really is and should. Former Ukrainian diplomat. He's been working with the Senate to expose the Bidens in Ukraine. He has been, I think, an instrumental source all the way along. He had been trying to testify in front of Congress, and then they keep stopping it for some reason. And now we just heard from him yesterday. He is in hiding, and he has had his U.S. visa revoked by the State Department. Why?
Yes. Well, I'm going to answer that question next week with more detail, but I think there is something very explosive that he provided to the Senate last May and June. That would be one of the biggest embarrassments to the Obama-Biden administration. And once that got known inside the Senate committee, the Senate Democrats and their friends in the deep state of the State Department executed a strategy to smear him, just like they did Devin Nunes, just like they did me during impeachment. We can go through all the people who had the courage to tell the truth, and they get attacked in ways of extraordinary intensity, ruining their reputations, their careers, other things. Next week, I will be able to answer, because I have the actual documents, what it was that Andrei Teloshenko turned over to the Senate that got the Democrats alarmed. And I think when people see that, you'll see that the dirty trick that we've been talking about, which clearly involves the FBI, clearly involves Hillary Clinton's campaign, clearly Barack Obama's in the know, clearly the FBI's in the know, the CIA's in the know. There's going to be some more people in the know, and it's going to take it right into the Obama-Biden White House. But I got to finish up the reporting on that, and I hope next week we'll be able to tell the American people the piece of evidence that was the hair trigger that scared the Democrats into beginning to attack Teloshenko. Let's keep in mind, I wrote a story a couple weeks ago. Andrei Teloshenko was the best buddy of the Obama White House. He was constantly meeting with people like Eric Termella and Liz Zentos, people right under Joe Biden and Barack Obama. They only turned on him when he gave up the goods on something that I think will make everybody shocked to see next week.
Well, at least those of us in the right in media will be shocked, but I don't know if it's going to. I mean, look, that Brennan is just dismissing and laughing about, and CNN is laughing about, his handwritten notes.
Yeah,
that's a pretty big smoking gun.
You know what I think? I've come to conclude. For a long time, I was angry at my profession for the willful blindness, the lack of neutrality, the picking of winners. But there's something amazing that I've seen in the last few months, and it's really because of pioneers like you and Sean and Fox News, all the people that created new websites to tell the other side of the story that gets ignored. These stories are getting around the mainstream media now, and they are seeping into the American public. We had a poll last week, like 60% of Americans believe Joe Biden corruptly used his office to enrich his family. Now, you couldn't have gotten that from reading the New York Times or the Washington Post or CNN or any of the mainstream media, but these stories are seeping around the American public because of people who had the courage like you to create your own platform, or myself, or the Fox News. It's getting around. The filter is broken. The media can no longer trap these stories.